Gaston Gimenez getting a 7.5, 17 games started, 0 goals, 3 assists. The first year DP played an important role in the way the Fire played this season. Now, Gaston Gimenez certainly was important to the Fire, but to me, he's just a guy. He's just a guy that's very good at soccer. He just happens to be one of the better guys at soccer on the Chicago Fire team. I don't know if this guy's a DP quality type of player, in my opinion. He's definitely a GAM level player. He deserves to be in the MLS. He's a good center defensive mid, but DP, you gotta be. He's getting international minutes though, isn't he?
He got a couple call-ups to the Argentinian senior team, I
No, he went
believe.
to Paraguay.
But and
Oh,
just
that's right.
watching him
That's right. He
play,
went to Paraguay.
but
My
watching
bad.
him play, you just see. I'm like, I'm not seeing enough out of this guy to think he's not gonna be. He's not going to
I
Europe.
I really value DP number sixes, and I like Dax. Obviously, we had Dax before, but I really value high level sixes. I also think their production's not going to be as high as box to box midfielders or tens for obvious reasons. They're closer to the defense than they are the opponent goal, so I think that should be taken into consideration. I mean, what I saw from Gaston was it obviously took him a few games to get really into the swing of things with the Fire. Very calm on the ball, which I think is really good at times and really bad at times. It's really good when you need to keep the ball, but it's really bad because there were some times that he gave the ball up in midfield because he held on to it for too long. Good passing going forward, really good long, distribution to the other side, and a sweet long shot. I don't think he was, yeah, obviously he had 0 goals, but there were a couple times where he was taking that ball like
True.
outside the 18. And he was
He was
swinging
threat.
it in. He got close a couple times. I like him. I need to see his production go up a little bit more so I could comfortably say he's a DP level. But I see where, Heights was going when he decided to bring Gaston in from Velas.
He combines well with Alvaro Madron. I do agree with that assessment. From attacking perspective, he's the team's level certainly dropped when he was missing. Excellent vision, calm on the ball, engine in the midfield. I mean, he runs, but his pace is not that great. As far as a six, there's many types of sixes, right? There's the Matic, the big, tall, not very fast type, but very skilled, very technical. Also great at tackling, very good positioning. And then you got the Conte types, which are way smaller, but just just physical specimens still, speedy, fast, very accelerated, got great acceleration. And Gaston Gimenez doesn't strike me as either of those. He strikes me as a guy who can pass. He doesn't strike me as like a true modern six. He's just a guy that could pass the ball and can be very technical with it. And to me, that's a harder guy to fit into my lineup if he doesn't truly do the job of a six. Dax
Yeah.
McCarty's a much better defender.
I was about to say, I think that Gaston is just Dax who can't defend as well.
Not nearly as well. Not even in the same echelon. And Dax is not a player that has pace. Dax has explosiveness, has some explosiveness and small bits of acceleration, but not a pace guy. But he didn't have to be. He was able to make up for a lot in positioning and reading the game. Gaston reads the game fantastic, offensively and defensively. He reads it quite well. He definitely makes pretty good defensive stops. He's not bad, but he's harder to fit into your roster than Dax is, in my opinion, because then it changes what you need your other midfielders to do. All of a sudden, I need a more defensive midfielder to drop back with this guy because he's not as defensive as we want him to be.
Well, then that
I
goes
think
back
I'm
to
gonna have
tactics.
to disagree with you guys on this one. I'm not gonna lie, and here's why. Dax is a bulldog. He is your classic number six.
Yes, a bit more. Yeah.
High work ethic, not incredibly great going forward, but when he gets the ball, he's hustling up the field. And Gaston's a completely different type of guy. But I also think, the fact that he's a little slow, not slower paced, but it's not necessarily his defensive work ethic. I think he has significantly better vision on the offensive and defensive side. Interception wise, he can stick his foot out and get the ball. He doesn't hustle back on D as much as a guy like Dax would, but I think he's just a different type of six. And I think you're bringing a guy like Madron in to complement the type of six that Gimenez is. works a lot better with Gimenez than it would Dax. So I just think it comes down to who you surround him with, as opposed to who's actually better at their job, because they're two totally different types of players in my head.
I'm trying to find something that I tweeted a while back. I'm trying to look through the way back Twitter, advanced search Twitter, because I know that I had a massive thread a while back about Gaston just absolutely ruining it for things.
Ruining the team or ruining the way things are set up?
It was a basically. I'm gonna just drop the link to the thread here. You can read through it, but I basically went frame for frame on a goal scored by Wando in the MLS's back tournament. It was like it was the second goal scored by San Jose that game. It was like the 83rd minute or whatever. And Gaston basically just leaves Wando wide open. He was supposed to track back and cover Wando, and he didn't. So that's like, I understand some mental lapses, but that is a major mental lapse.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to reiterate that was his third game in MLS for the record. So
yes,
that's not an excuse, but it's an excuse.
It's not an excuse because if you did your homework, you'd know that Wondolowski is the leading goal scorer of all time in MLS. And if he goes onto the pitch, you should probably pay attention to him. That's the thing with him. Like he looked better in his first game than he did in his next 5.
Didn't he looked better in his first few games than he did in his last any games?
So it's the thing about him. I don't know, but I do know that he is Tam. He would have to be like, I don't know if I would want him as a DP or if I wouldn't want him as a DP, but he is a DP, so we just got to deal with it.
This dude's a DP on a bad team. He's a bad DP. Got Brian Nieto. Sorry, guys. Brian Nieto checking in. What's up? Hey, guys. Gaston is more finesse rather than hustle. I agree with Matt. The pairing of Gaston and Madron were really complementary, and it's shown to work. And the more they work together, the better I think they'll get. Now, I slightly disagree with that. It worked to the tune of an 11th place team that missed the playoffs in an extended playoff format.
And I don't want to sugarcoat that any more than that, because they missed the playoffs after being given. They moved mountains for this team to make the playoffs. They moved mountains.
The Rockies were moved to the Midwest temporarily. They were here.
And the fact that we couldn't make the playoffs after the goalposts had been moved so much, I almost thought we were the Patriots at some point. Like, it's just the way that the Fire were, like, they were trying to shove the Fire into the playoffs, and we just consistently said no. And so that's why something has to be wrong with this team. I still can't find it, but something has to be wrong with this team.
I don't think the root of the problems came from, that Gimenez-Madron pair. I truly believe that the root came from the attack and the D. Midfield was fine.
Absolutely.
Everything else for me was the issue. And we could delve into that later, but I think if we're talking about specific reasons why we didn't make the playoffs, it's the wingers. And I will, it's the wingers.
Oh, wait till we get into that. I can't wait. I cannot.
That's my most passionate subject regarding this.
But I just want to say with Gaston, I think I kind of give him like the same sort of thought process as Sekulic, where he did not do well as a defender. I can't really say much about him as a defender, but he did make great passes. He ripped some, thinking he was Katai or something, but like he looked fine on the attack. He looked fine in possession of the ball. On defense, everybody kind of just fell apart. So
can I propose
don't know.
Something?
Mm-hmm.
What about if you move Gaston up to say like an 8, and you have Alvaro be a box-to-box guy, and then you bring Mauricio up to play that traditional 6 role, because unlike Gaston, he is, that's what he played in college. That's what he is. That's what he's good at.
You lose the 10.
And so, you have a 10 in Luka Stojanovic. Obviously, Georgie's gone.
Well, where does he play? Where does Stojanovic play in that lineup if you're moving?
Well, Stojanovic in that lineup won't play, which I think is a good issue to have. And I can't say that Stojanovic is a starting caliber player, because we've seen him play one game.
Yeah, 2.
So that's just a way that you could reconcile keeping Gaston as a DP while pushing him farther up the field and suit his strengths more adequately. But I still rate having a number 10. I think that's very important. So
But
my opinion doesn't matter at the end of the day.
it's fun to hear your guys' opinion, though. We all watch a lot of soccer and a lot of Chicago Fire soccer, and you know what? I think we have merit. We have merit in our opinions. It's not exactly Crooning-Dunning effect. Sometimes it is the Crooning-Dunner effect, whatever it is. God, I'm not saying it right. Dunning-Kruger effect. That sometimes it infects MLS, and they think that they're the smartest guys in the room. Oh, not always. But everybody, if you could take a moment just to subscribe to Spitting Fire. Hopefully today's the day we earned your description. Oh, wow, it's been a long video already. And we're almost halfway there through the roster. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. Happy New Year to everybody. Smash that like button for Jiggly and MenInRed joining us. Let us know in the comments below if you have any disagreements or any agreements. We also got the live chat going here too. It's fun. So a lot of disagreement there on Gaston Gimenez. I was surprised.